this video, we will transform our system from requiring manual user interaction for changes to one with automatic real-time updates. We will handle live comment and like updates as well as notifications. You will learn about WebSockets, one of the go-to solutions for real-time communication, and implement them using Spring Boot on the backend and React.js on the frontend. By the end of this video, our application will look like this. So here on the left side, I'm logged in with a user that's called Unclear on a Chrome tab, and here I'm logged in as John Doe in a Safari tab. So now if let's say John Doe likes the post of Unclear, so I click on like, and as you can see, I'm getting a notification here. If I see it, it will say John Doe liked your post, and if I click on this notification, I'm gonna get redirected here, and I'm able to see the posts that John has liked. And let's say I go back to the home page and I go to the all tab so that I am able to see my own post as well, not just the post of the others like on LinkedIn. So now, as you can see, it's saying John Doe and one other like, and here on the John Doe side, it's saying you and one other like. If I dislike this without me refreshing anything, it's getting updated, and if I like again, it's gonna get added, and I've got a notification here. And it's gonna be the same for the comments. So now if I say hi Anne, and let's say I send, as you can see, it is changing here, like automatically I'm able to see the comment of John, and I'm also getting this notification. And if I click on this, so it's gonna say John Doe commented on your post, and if I click, I'm gonna get redirected to the actual post that John Doe has clicked. So that's what we will be having at the end of the video. But before, we're gonna go and understand a little bit what WebSockets are, and then we'll go and build the backend with Java and the frontend with React.js. Before talking about WebSockets, let's talk a little bit about HTTP. The way that HTTP works is that you have a client, oftentimes the browser, and we would have a server. Like here on google.com, my client is my web browser here, and the server is the service that's hosting the google.com pages. Okay, so the way that it works is that my browser would send a request with some headers, and the server would respond to me with also some headers and a body. The body could be a HTML page or an image or some JSON. Okay, and after that, the connection that has been created between my browser and the server would be gone. It's a request response way of working, where as soon as the server responds, the connection is stopped. And there were a lot of hacks in the beginning where people would add some JavaScript in a set interval, and they would refresh the page. There are a lot of websites that still do that, but it is like very consuming, because you are making HTTP calls, and every time you are creating a new connection, you are getting back, the connection is being dropped, and then making another again and again. And that's why WebSocket was introduced. So WebSocket is a computer communication protocol that enables simultaneous two-way communication over a single TCP connection. Earlier I was saying that when you make a HTTP call, there is a connection. It is actually done with TCP, but the difference is that the connection is going to be dropped as soon as the server responds, and every time you make a new changes on the website, another connection is created. The difference here is that WebSocket will keep the TCP connection, and then it allows the server and the client to communicate like in a real-time model. And it was actually standardized by the EATF in 2011 as RFC 6455. It is actually built on top of HTTP. So as you can see, to make a WebSocket connection, the client actually sends a HTTP request. It just would contain this header that's called upgrade to WebSocket. And upon receiving a HTTP request that contain this header, the upgrade WebSocket, if the server knows how to handle the WebSocket, it's gonna respond with a header that would say upgrade WebSocket and say also connection upgrade in this. Okay, and now they are connected, and the TCP connection is gonna be kept, and they can change data between the two like in an instantaneous way. So before, with only HTTP, the client send a request, the server respond, and the server couldn't send data to the client without the client sending a request first. Okay, now like both sides can send a request without waiting for the other, and the URL of a WebSocket would start with WS instead of HTTP, like for an encrypted connection, and for an encrypted connection we would use the WSS with 2S. And I also have here a diagram to explain where WebSocket sits in the network model. So the WebSocket actually sits here as it's actually built on top of HTTP. I'm gonna go ahead and clone the project on my desk, open the front end with VS Code and the back end with IntelliJ. Make sure my Docker is running locally, start my containers, and then start the backend. Copy the env file in our front-end folder and run the front-end server, not in this order. You can do all of this reading the README on GitHub, okay? I am going to log in with John Doe here. So we're gonna say John. And here on this tab on Safari, I'm gonna log in with Unclair. To the All tab, so we're able to see the post of Unclair. So as you can see now, 2 people have liked this post. If I go here and I like the post of Anne with the John Doe user, it has updated on my page. That's because we are updating the UI with React. But here, she's not able to see the change, okay? Unless she refreshes the page and then comes here. Now, there are like 3 people who have liked her post, okay? If I dislike it, she will still be seeing the old data. She has to refresh, come back here to see the change, okay? So that's what we will be fixing. How? So our Spring Boot backend, it's a server that's using HTTP, so to do everything that I have showed you. To be able to handle WebSocket connections, like a client sending us the header that I have showed you in the beginning with the upgrade WebSocket, we need to change our backend code a little bit. So first thing first, we're gonna need to add a package that's called a Spring Boot Starter WebSocket. We're gonna go into Maven and we're going to grab it, okay? So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna click on a version. So in our project we are using Gradle with the Kotlin syntax, okay? So we're gonna grab this like so, and we're gonna come here into our where is it? Yeah, here, and we're going to add it, and we're gonna remove actually the version, because as you may already know, and as we explained in previous videos, since we have this Spring Dependency Management plugin, we don't need to specify the version of all things related to Spring Boot, because Spring Boot is going to figure out which version is right depending on the Spring framework that we have here, okay? So that's the first step that we need to do. Then we need to instantiate a configuration class that will make use of this package. For that, I'm actually going to go into the features here, and I'm going to create a features folder that I'm going to call WebSocket, okay, like this. And here I'm going to create another package that's going to be called configuration, like so. And in it, I'm going to create a Java class that's going to call WebSocket configuration, like this. And it's going to be a configuration class using the Spring Boot annotation, okay? And here we're gonna say this Java class is the one that's gonna enable WebSocket connection, okay? And for that we're gonna use this. So sorry, we actually need to refresh the project so that the package that we just added is taken into consideration. So now if I come back, hopefully enable, so this one, this called enable WebSocket message broker. And upon adding this class, our application, as you can see, is failing. It's saying that it failed to start being that's called subprotocol WebSocket handler, because having this isn't enough actually. This class should implement an interface called WebSocket WebSocket message broker configurer, so this one. And if we look into this interface, there are some methods that are specified, and we need to at least specify 2 of them for our WebSocket configuration to work. So the first one is this register stem endpoint. So let us come back here, and we're gonna override, and we're gonna say so IntelliJ is completing this for me, which is good. So here we're going to say a register endpoint, and we actually don't need this one, like so. And then we are also gonna say set allowed origin patterns. This actually is a way of telling our WebSocket server that any URL can connect to this. Okay, so because our client, our React.js is actually running on a different URL. As you can see, it's running on this URL, and our backend is running on localhost 8080. So by default, it would try to stop URLs that are not the same as our backend to connect. Okay, so with that, we are gonna say allow all domains to connect to this WebSocket. Later on, we're gonna add an authentication. Okay, but for now, everyone can connect. Okay, then the second method that we need to implement from the interface here is called sorry, let me find it. Let me find it. Yeah, it is this one. It's called configure message broker. So let me come back here, and I'm gonna say override public void. Okay, so here we're gonna say registry enable, and we're gonna use topic. Also, we're gonna enable the application destination prefix. So actually, there is a convention in the Spring Boot world where when you set up a WebSocket, okay, you would set 2 destinations. The first one is being topic. This is where you would send messages from the server to the client, and whenever the client want to send a message to the server, he would use this /app endpoint. Okay, and also, if you have noticed, we are talking about stomp endpoints here. So what is stomp actually? Stomp, which stands for simple or streaming text oriented message protocol, is actually a way of structuring how the data is sent between a client and a server on a WebSocket connection, but also for other message brokers like RabbitMQ, and we'll be talking about these upcoming videos and how we can use them. Okay, because here, like when we call this, we are using an in-memory message broker, but this, like here, we can use a system that's outside our application like RabbitMQ, and that we will be doing in upcoming videos. Okay, for now, just to know that Stomp is a way of structuring the data transfer between the client and the server. By default, WebSocket doesn't tell anything about the way of exchanging data. Okay, so here the idea is to have a standard way of communicating where messages are sent to destinations. Okay, a destination could be like queue in something. It also would add some headers like a content type that will say if it's a HTML, if it's a plain text or a JSON, and then it would send the message itself. Okay, and this stomp, as I said earlier, is actually supported by things like Apache ActiveMQ, by RabbitMQ, and others. And speaking of this destination, that's actually what we that's what we have here. So we are saying that the messages that our server will send will be sent to a destination that will start with topic. So we would have things like a topic slash post and then a post ID. So there our server could like send a message to this destination, and all the clients that are subscribed to this destination will receive the data. And I'm going to be showing you how the client could subscribe to this in a bit. And also we have set it this destination where we want when the client is wanting to send data to our server, he would use the app prefix, and he would say like app slash a post and then something like a post ID. And now if we start our application again, hopefully it is going to run without errors. So as you can see, it's running. And then we're going to connect actually from our client to this. For that, I'm going to go into the client here, and I'm going to install the Stomp.js library. That's going to help us do a stem connection. Then I'm going to go into the features folder here, and I'm going to create a folder that's going to call WebSocket. In here, I'm going to create a WebSocket context. Okay. Let's say I'm going to say it's going to be WebSocket.tsx, and I'm going to paste the code and explain what it contains. Okay. So here we are creating a context using the create context from React, and this context is going to be of type this compat client that's coming from Stomp.js or null, because by default we need this null so that we then update when there is a connection. Okay. And also we are exporting a use WebSocket that is using our WebSocket context. Okay. So that all the pages of our project, they would use this WebSocket hook to have access to the client. Okay. And how we will instantiate this client. So here we would call stomp.client, and we are gonna call the endpoint that we have registered earlier, which is being this one. Okay. Let me come back. So which is being this one. For now, actually, we can remove this. I'm going to explain the point of having this in a bit. Okay. So we create a client, and then we're going to call the connect. If there is a connection, after the connection, we're going to set our Stomp client state. That's going to like have the connected client. And this connected client, that's what we will be actually adding to our WebSocket provider here. And whenever this component is removed from the page, we are just gonna simply disconnect. Okay. And after disconnection, we're gonna show this message, and we're gonna go and wrap our application with this WebSocket context. And we're gonna text provider, we're gonna import it, as you can see from this. Let me grab and add it here. So if you don't really know React.js and you are here for the Spring Boot part, don't worry if you don't really understand what we're doing here. It's just a way of setting a WebSocket connection over a Stomp using a client, like in a Angular or in a basic HTML CSS. It would just be slightly different, but the idea is the same. Okay. And why we actually wrapped our application layout with the context provider and not our let's say authentication provider. So we actually also have this authentication layout. We didn't wrap this one because we want to create the WebSocket connection only after login. Okay. So this is why. And to test everything out, let us actually go into our header, and we're gonna grab the WebSocket client. Okay. We're gonna call it WebSocket client, and we're going to use WebSocket. I'm going to import it here, and here I'm going to use a use effect. So it's completing for me, which is good. So let's say for now I'm gonna subscribe actually to a topic that is gonna be called greetings, okay, and then just log the message into the console. I want it to be greetings with a S. Also, I'm actually gonna, just to test it, okay, I'm gonna add a on click here, okay, and I'm gonna say whenever there is a click here, I'm gonna use our WebSocket client, and I'm going to send a message to this URL, okay. As I said, I showed you earlier, I said that whenever the client want to send a message, we'll be using, instead of topic, the /app. So here, to receive messages from the server, here to send, so we are sending to hello. So let us save all of this, and let us check our we would have some logs here. So if I refresh, as you can see, it is saying that our client has actually first made a connection, and then we have a subscription to topic /greetings, okay. And now if I click on the header somewhere, okay, as you can see, it is sending a message that says destination, and that actually is the same thing as I have showed you earlier on the Wikipedia page. So it's the same, okay. So this is what is being sent to our backend, but our backend for now isn't processing the data that are coming to this app. That's why there is nothing happening actually, although the client is sending a message to our backend. And to test all of this out, I'm going to go into the backend again, and I am going to create a controller. I'm going to create it in the actually same folder, because this controller we're going to be removing it later on, okay. Just I'm going to call it so let me actually go to the documentation. So we're going to call it greeting controller. I'm going to add it here because I'm going to remove it later on, okay. So this controller, it should have the controller annotation here that should come from Spring Framework, and I'm actually gonna copy paste its content, just to not waste your time, guys, typing all of this. And this messaging should come from Spring Framework messaging, also the send to. And also, actually, we don't need this greeting, because for now we just simply gonna send a string, okay. And also the message is going to be a string, and then here we are simply gonna return hello. We're gonna say something like I have received a greeting message, and we're gonna send this back, okay. So what's happening here is that actually when someone send a message to like /app/hello, this method is going to get called, and the return of this method is going to be sent to topic/greetings, okay. So let me save all of this, and I'm also gonna log the message. I'm gonna say, let's say message, sorry, like so. And now let us come back to our client. I'm gonna refresh all of this, and I'm gonna click on the header. So if I click, it has sent this message to app/hello, and if I come back here, as you can see, we are logging the message. So it's saying message hello from client that we sent here. The client is not logging this message because I actually accidentally removed the send to annotation here. So it should send to topic to greetings. Save. Now let me come back, and if I click again, as you can see, the our client sent the message to app hello, and the app hello has responded to topic greetings that is captured by this subscription, and we have our new message, and our backend is saying hello, I've received a greeting message, hello from client. And that actually will be logged like on all clients that are logged in. So if I come here and I open my terminal, the logs, okay, let me just clear all of this for now. In here as well, I'm going to clear all of everything. So I'm going to send a message from this client to the server. Okay. If I click, I'm sending and I'm receiving the message. And since the server actually will be sending this message to all the clients that are subscribed to this topic, this client as well is receiving the message. As you can see, it's saying new message, hello, I've received a greeting message from client. Now that we understand how this communication with a stamp over WebSocket is working, we're gonna design our website so that it fits the need that we have, that I have showed you in the beginning of the video. So for that, I'm gonna actually come here and I'm gonna delete this controller because we want to be using this one. Okay. Instead, we'll be having a feature that's gonna be called notifications, where we'll be handling all of this. Okay. We're gonna say notifications, and in here we'll be first having a notification model. So I'm gonna create a model folder, and it's gonna called notifications .java. I don't need the extension because Java is gonna add it for us. IntelliJ is going to add it for us. So what this notification will look like, I'm gonna actually paste it and explain what it contains. And I'm also gonna need this notification type, which is going to be an enum. I'm gonna say a notification type, and I'm gonna paste it content as well. So the notification type, so on our website, for now we would have either a like or a comment. We'll be handling like the messages in upcoming videos. And then here in our this should be notifications factor rename file. Rename. So what this notification is actually an entity, so using a Spring Data GPA, and it would have an ID that's going to be auto-generated. We would have a recipient, which is going to be a user that will be receiving the notification. We have a many-to-one relation, and also we would have an actor, like the user that has generated the like or the comment. We have also this is read to know whether the notification has been read or not by the recipient. Then the notification type, and then a resource ID. So the resource ID for now is going to be the ID of the post that has been liked or the post that has been commented. So that's how the client is going to be able later, when we click on the notification, to redirect us to the corresponding post. Okay. And then we have a creation date, then a notification constructor, and then some setters and some getters. And if you actually don't know really about these many-to-one relations, I would suggest that you watch later this video, the video that's called More Spring Data GPA, the video number 4 of the playlist, where we covered Spring Data GPA and how connections works in depth. Okay, so that's why I'm gonna be quick here in this video. So I've also gone ahead and created the notification repository, then created a service which is called the notification service, and also a controller, and I'm going to explain what we have in all of these files. So in the controller, we are mapping actually everything, like the requests that are going to be made to API/version1/notifications will be handled by this controller. So if you remember, for example, in our notification authentication, we also have this authentication controller that's mapped to everything related to this URL. Okay, so it's the same idea here. So the first method, so here we are instantiating the notification service, and we have a first get mapping. So whenever there is a get to this URL, this one will fire, and all this one does is that it's going to grab the user that's coming from the authentication and grab all its notifications. So we're gonna make a call to our database and grab all the notifications of this user. That's actually how we are able to, whenever someone likes your post and you are not logged in on the LinkedIn, you are still able to see the notification because we are saving them actually. So, and if we look at this get user notification, all it does is that it's gonna grab the notifications that are in our database, and it's gonna sort them using the creation date in a descendant order. Okay, and this method is here on our Spring Data HPA. So where was I? So coming back to the controller, and also we have a put mapping where we mark a notification as read. Okay, as read. So here, if we look at it, what it does is that it's gonna grab the notification from the database. If it doesn't exist, it's gonna throw an error, and then it's gonna mark it as true. It's gonna save it, but also it is going to send a message to this topic. Okay, and this topic, our header is gonna be subscribed to this topic later to update the number of authentication that are non-read, like the red bubble that I have showed you, and I will be showing you in a bit. So that's what we have in the service, but also we have others methods that I will be explaining later on. But before that, remember in our notification we have said that we have this many-to-one and many-to-one relation, like that's linking the notification table to the user table. So what happens when a user is deleted, like when a user delete his content from LinkedIn? We want to be able to delete all its notification from the database, and that we will be doing with the help of the cascading method. So for that, I'm actually gonna go into the authentication user here, and I'm gonna add two methods. Let me grab the notification. So we would have the received notifications, and here we're gonna say that whenever this user is deleted, I want you to delete all its notifications. Same thing for the notifications where he is the author. Okay, and I'm also not gonna be going in depth about all of this because we covered them in the video number 4, as I said. We're gonna also add some getters and setters for this, and also for this one, and we are ignoring that because we don't want, when we request the user, it sends us also its notifications. And speaking of these others methods that are in our notification service that I have talked earlier, these actually we will be using them in our feed service here. So the feed service is actually where we are handling the liking of a post and the adding comment to a post and all. So here we're actually gonna instantiate a notification service. So we're gonna say private final notification service, and we're gonna add it to the constructor. Okay, and we will be using this one to update the like post and the comment post. So before, what we did is that whenever someone like a post, we are simply grabbing the post, then the user, and checking if the user has already liked the post, we're removing it, and if he didn't, we are adding it, and then we are saving the post. Now we also want to actually send notifications when there is a like. So here we're gonna say, we're gonna use our notification service here, and we're gonna say send a like notification, and here we are going to pass the user, which is our author. We're gonna grab the so the user is actually the person that is creating the like, but also we need the author of the post, which is our the receiver of the notification. Okay, then we are also gonna grab the post ID, or we could say or we could use a post.getID. It's the same. Okay, so that if we look at this notification, it is gonna say that if the author ID is the same as the recipient ID. So if the user liked its own post, we don't want to create a notification. Okay, so we just return. Otherwise, we're gonna create a notification where the author is this one, the recipient. The type of notification that we're creating in this case is a like, and the resource ID. We're gonna save it to the database, and we're gonna send this the notification that has been created to this topic. Okay, and this topic is gonna be subscribed by our client in the header component to show the number of new notifications that are created. Okay, so that's what's happening. Coming back to our feed service here, we need to send also another notification actually. So here I'm actually gonna grab, I'm gonna say post, I'm gonna say a saved post, like so. I'm gonna return it, and here I'm gonna call the notification service, and I'm gonna say send like to post, and we're gonna use the post ID, then the saved post, and we're gonna send the likes. So here we are sending the notification to the user to show the red badge that says there are new notifications, but also we need to update the post itself like I showed you in the beginning. So here we're gonna send the new likes to the post itself so that it updates itself. And we also need to update our add comment. So before we're grabbing the post, we're grabbing the user, creating the comment and saving it, but now we actually need to send a notification. So for that, instead of returning this like so, we're gonna save the comment and grab it. So actually here I'm gonna remove, so and then I'm gonna return it here. But before returning the comment, I'm also gonna use our notification service, and I'm gonna say send a comment notification, and I'm gonna use the user which has created this comment. I'm gonna grab the comment author and then the comment ID. Actually, for now we'll be using the post ID, because when we click on a comment notification, we are going to the post, not the comment itself. And then also we're gonna send another notification, but this one we're gonna send it to the actual post, and we'll be sending the post ID and then the comment, like so. So here we are sending it to the user, okay, so that the client shows the red badge that says there are 2 notifications, and here we are sending to the actual post so that it updates its comments. So if we look, it's actually the same as the like, and it's doing the same thing. If the comment is created by the author itself, don't do anything, otherwise save it and send this. So coming back to the feed service, and this one, all it does, it just sends the comment to the post itself. So that's it actually for our backend. We'll be implementing the client side. So on the client side, the first thing that we need to implement, actually for now I'm gonna remove all of this, that we did just to test it out. Remove all of this and this. Okay, so I'm gonna make it bigger, and as you can see, the notification page, like there is nothing, because here on the router side we're just rendering this text. Okay, like if I add some s, as you can see, that's what we are rendering. And so I'm gonna go here in the features folder, and I'm gonna create a folder that's gonna be called notifications. No, actually the notification is going to be part of the feed, so it's going to be a page in the feed folder. So we're going to say notifications, and create the notifications.tsx. Create it style as well. And we're going to import it here. So instead of rendering this, we're going to import our notifications like so. So as you can see, there's nothing. If I add a p, that's what we will be seeing. And what this notification is going to contain, I'm going to actually paste it and explain. I'm going to also be quick on the React side, because there are a lot of things that we covered in previous videos, and I don't want you guys you guys to like watch me type all of this. If you want like to understand more of what I'm doing here, you can watch the previous videos. So what we are doing here, so we are creating the notification type based on what the backend is sending to us. Okay, and then we're creating a notification state, making a user effect call to grab it, okay, when the page load. And then on the notification page itself, let me actually paste the style as well, so that you see what's happening. So as you can see, now it's saying no notification, because we don't have any notification actually. So first thing first, we're making a HTTP call to grab if there is any notification. And if we look in the network here, so we're making this, but we're getting an empty array. So that's why here in the markup, we are saying when this is 0, show this p tag, okay? And otherwise, we would have the this left sidebar that we also have on the home page. So it's the same. And also we have this right sidebar, which is the same as on the home page as well, that we built in previous videos. And like in the center here, we are looping over the notifications array, and we are rendering this notification function. And this notification is actually here. It's this one. Let me actually create a notification so that we are able to see something. So I'm logged in with John Doe here. I'm gonna come. So does John Doe have a post? Yeah, John Doe have a post. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna dislike, because the like that we are seeing here is actually created automatically when the project starts on the backend side, like here in our where was it? Yeah, here we're creating some likes and some posts, and here we're not creating any notification. That's why. So now if I like again, okay, it's gonna create a notification in the database. And if I refresh and go to the notification tab, as you can see, we have this one. And what it is displaying, I'm going to show you. So it's actually, all of this is actually a button where when we click, we're going to make this API call. So we're going to call this function that's going to make an API call to the endpoint that I have showed you in the beginning, that is going to actually mark this notification as read. And then it is going to loop over the notifications array, and when it finds the notification that we just updated, it's going to change also its read state. Okay, and also then it's going to navigate to the resource ID, which is the post that has been liked. For now, if I click, we're gonna like get redirected. Okay, we're gonna go actually to the actual URL, but we're gonna get redirected to the home page because we didn't set this one. But if we look at the notifications again, it has changed because now it is read actually. So we are adding, let me show you this class. When it's read, we are adding so this class, the notification class, and also this so when it is read, we're just adding one class. When it's not read, we're also adding this and read class that is in our style here to change the background like slightly. So coming back, we have a p tag that is actually showing the name of the actor, like the person that has created this notification. And if it's a like, you will say liked, and if it's not, we're gonna say commented on your post. Okay, and then at the end here, at the left here, we have this time ago that we also created in previous videos, where we show this like 47 minutes ago message. So we are able to see the pull notifications here. But let's say if I'm on the home page here, okay, and unclear here, I'm gonna dislike and like again. So if I do that and go here, I'm gonna see the new notification, but we are not getting like this a notification indicator here like I showed you in the beginning of the video. So that's what we will be doing next, and that will be doing it in the header. So we're gonna go in the header here, and we are going to have here next to the notifications here, we're gonna add the number of notifications that are out there. But how we are gonna do that? So for that, we're gonna first here come here and grab the WebSocket client. I'm gonna say const so it is WebSocket client, and we're gonna use WebSocket like so. And here I'm actually gonna create a use effect that's gonna subscribe to this topic. Remember, this is the topic where we would send all the new notifications that are targeting our authentication user, and we need a notification state. I'm gonna add it up here, so it's going to be of type notification, and it's going to be a list of notification. Why it's yelling? Yeah, sorry, we actually need to import this like so. So now it's gone. So what we are doing here is that we are getting the notification from the server. We're gonna grab it, like we're gonna parse the body because we're gonna be receiving a JSON, and we're gonna update our notifications state. So what we do is that first we're gonna check if the notification that we received is already part of our notification state. So if it is not the case, we're gonna receive -1 here. The find index is gonna return -1. So if it's not the case, we're just simply gonna add it at the top of the array. If it is not the case, meaning the notification was already in our notifications, it means that the notification has actually just been updated. So this is what we do. We're gonna go through our notifications, and when we find the notification that is the same as the current one, okay, we're gonna run it. Otherwise, we're gonna run the notification itself. So in which time we'll be receiving a case where the notification is already in our in our array here. So that would happen when we call the read. You remember, if I go into our notification controller here, when we call the read method here, as you can see, we're marking the notification as read, and then we're sending the notification. So when that happens, the notification is already actually part of our notifications array here, and we're going to use this notification array to render the red badge that's going to be here. So for that, I'm gonna grab all the notifications. So I'm gonna go through the notification and filter it to grab all the notifications that are not read yet, and I'm gonna grab the lengths, and I'm gonna use this one to render below. So let me go below here, like the notifications here. Instead of simply rendering this notification span, now we'll render a div below. So let me show you what happens. So we're going to be rendering a div that will contain the span like before, but also we say that if the non-read notifications count is greater than 0, we're going to be rendering another span that's going to be called, that will have a class of badge, and will render the number of notifications here. So I'm going to save this, and as you can see, we're not seeing anything so far. Okay, why? Because this notifications state is only being updated when there is a new notification. To actually test it out, I'm gonna go here, dislike this, and like again. So I'm gonna come back here. If I like now, okay, our subscription would fire. This would fire, and as you can see, it's saying that there is one notification that's not read. Okay, like the new one that has been created. Although, if we look here, there are actually two of them. So this one help us grab the new notifications that are being created while the user is on the page. But we also need to grab all the notifications that have been created when the user is not, like while the user was away, when the page render. So that we'll be doing with the use effect. So we're gonna import this from our utils, and here we're gonna say when you render, you're gonna go call the notifications API and grab all the notification inside our notification, and this one is gonna run every time something happens while he is on the page. Okay, now as you can see, it's showing two notifications, but the styling is bad. We're gonna go into headers module style and add some. Okay, I have actually added this notification class that has a position of relative, and then I'm grabbing the badge and saying it should be, I'm going to make it slightly bigger here. Okay, and then I'm saying, so as you can see, it's not being applied because I actually forgot to here. So here, where was I? So on the notification here, LE, I'm going to add a class name that's going to be class notification. Now if I save, as you can see, it's sent. And what we are doing is we are saying this LE should be relative, and the badge is going to be positioned absolutely within this LE. It should have this background color, some width, some height, a border radius to make it, to give it this round shape, and that's it. So now if we refresh, whenever we refresh, this use effect is running to grab from the database, and whenever there is an interaction, this will fire to update the count. So this is working, but the post is not being updated. So if I go here and I dislike, okay, the number hasn't updated because we need to actually refresh, come back here to see the changes. Why? Because this is not, like the post component is not subscribed to anything so far. So we're gonna go into the post here. So it was in the feed, it is this one here. So here we're gonna grab the WebSocket client below somewhere here. Let me import it. And then we are gonna have a use effect. I'm gonna add it somewhere here. So we are creating a subscription to topic to likes. Whenever there is a like, we're gonna grab the number of likes that we are getting back and set our likes. And then we are also gonna check whether the current user has liked the post or not. The post liked state, that is what we are actually using to say you like this, instead of showing the name when it's another person. So now if we go to unclear, so as you can see here, we have only 2 people that have liked this, and if unclear like it, now it's gonna say unclear and 2 other like this. Okay, so the post is being updated, and we're gonna do the same for the comments. So I'm gonna make it smaller here, and we will be having another subscription, but this time it's going to be for the comment. So it will be comments topic, and we do the same thing. But like here we're getting the an array of all the likes. Here we're simply getting one comment. So what we are doing is that we are destructuring the previous comments array and adding the new one at the top. To test it out, I'm gonna go into the unclear here, and I'm gonna add a comment. Let's say I'm gonna say, so as you can see it is being added here. But why it is being added 2 times? So there is a bug actually. So when we make a post, actually we don't need to do that anymore, because the adding of the new post, we are handling it with the subscription here. That's why. So we are adding it actually twice. So here we're gonna simply do that. Like so. And also for the like, if you remember, it's saying Musa Job in 1 other liked, and if I like, so it's saying you in 3, and it should be you in 2 others. So we have the same problem here. So we won't be handling the likes here, so we don't do anything, because we are handling it with the subscription here. And also here, sorry, that's not what I intended to do. Also here, so if I add a new comment, let's say I'm gonna say hi, so it's only added once, and it's here. And if I let's say dislike it, it's also updated here. And if I like again, we have the correct number. The last thing that's remaining is the post page that we would show when we click on a notification. So for that, I've actually went ahead and I have created in the feed here, in the pages, I've created this post. Okay, it's called post page, and we're gonna render it here in the main, like somewhere below the feed page here. I'm gonna import it. Okay, so it's gonna be mapped to post/id. Like when we go to post/id, we're gonna show this one. The first thing that we do here is we're gonna actually grab the ID using isparams from React Router DOM, and then we're gonna make a HTTP call to get the post that is linked to this ID, and we're gonna set it using this set state. If I make it bigger and I click on this, so we are showing this post page where we have the same thing as the home page here, and we are showing the post that has been liked. And if so, here as you can see, this has been viewed and this one is not read. So but now if I click on this, I'm redirected to the post, and now all of them are read and there's nothing that's being shown here. So guys, that's it for this video. As you see, we have built everything that we have talked about. We're able to have instantaneous feedback. We're able to have notifications. I will be committing everything that we did in the GitHub repo. So if you want the final code, it's going to be available. In upcoming videos, we will be handling more things on our project. We'll be maybe working on the network, the messaging, being able, for example, to send real-time messages between users, and also be able to know when a user is actually currently connected. So this is something that's also done with WebSocket, but we didn't cover it. We'll be covering it when we are working on the messaging. So there is a lot to learn, a lot to build, and let me know what you thought about this video. If you liked it, please also let me know via a comment or by liking it, sharing it with your friends who are also maybe interested in this topic. Subscribe so that you don't miss the upcoming ones, and see you in the next one very soon.